This was rather dramatic, and this is a big safety lesson for parents. We saw something pretty serious happen in the metro station when we were getting on the metro at the Smithsonian station, right on the National Mall near these museums that we were at, to come back here to Crystal City. It was very busy in the station, and there was a service announcement on the screens. There had been some kind of train problem earlier in the day that was delaying things, and so the trains were coming pretty close together because things had been backed up apparently earlier. There was going to be an orange train. Several trains came while we were standing there, and there was an orange train, and then there was going to be a blue train, which is what we needed, and then there was going to be something else. And was it orange? Might have been silver. I don't know. Not our train. Anyway, the train before ours. A family came along. We were just standing there, you know, standing to the back waiting for our train to come. And a family came along, kind of hurrying. And it was mom, dad, a teenage daughter, and a little girl. She was maybe like 6, 7 years old. She was young, okay? Looking all happy, whatever. The little girl ran ahead and got on the subway, on the train car, ahead of the rest of her family. Mom was in a wheelchair, wheeling herself, and she was hurrying to catch up with her daughter and get on the train. And when she got right up to the doors closed. So mom, dad, and big sister did not get on the train, and little sister was on the train by herself. And somebody screamed, either the mom or the big sister yelled, and big sister got her hands in the door. Okay, so she got her hands in the door and forced the door back open and yelled to her little sister and got her little sister out of the car. But her little sister had a stuffed animal or a doll or something in her hands, and the doors closed on her hands. So the little girl was now out of the train, but her stuffed animal was stuck inside and the doors were closing. And I could see people on the train were getting up and rushing over to try to help her. But the doors closed completely. She got her hands out, but the stuffed animal or whatever it was stayed inside and the train left. So this was a scary situation. And everybody on the platform was like, you know, because they literally almost lost their little girl. And this is something that I can definitely relate to, because we had a kind of similar situation, except it was getting off the train. It happened to us in Paris, and we almost lost Ben. And this was before Ben had a cell phone or anything, so he would have been in the same situation as that girl, stuck on a train without his family, with no idea what to do or any way to contact us. So this is an important lesson for you folks. The mom was freaked. I mean, they were just hugging the little girl. She was sobbing, and they were all hugging each other. They were saying to her, I mean, they were kind of chewing her out, but they were saying to her, we almost lost you. And they were obviously concerned that she was going to be upset because she lost her stuffed animal or whatever. And she said, I don't care about the doll. And she obviously didn't care. I did say to the kids, I said, I wonder if some nice person on that train is going to come back around at the next stop and bring her back her thing that she dropped. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, we had to get on the next train, so we did get to see. But here's some important safety lessons for you from that experience. And I told this to the kids, and I've talked to them about this before. If you are a family with young kids, okay, and you've got 2 adults or even a teenager and younger kids, the little kids need to be in the middle, okay? This is true for a train, this is true for an elevator, something like that, okay? One big person, adult person, needs to get on first. Then the little kid or little kids need to get on next. And then the other big person needs to get on, okay? So like for me, when it was me and my teenage son Andrew and then my 2 little kids Megan and Ben, like I would go first and then Megan and Ben and then Andrew, or vice versa. Andrew would go first, then Megan and Ben, then me. That way, if that happens and the door's shut, 1 or 2 or however many of the little children are with at least one big person, whether it be on the train or in the elevator or on the train platform or on the floor or whatever. You're divided up with big people. So no matter what, if the big people go in first and last, the little people are never going to be going off somewhere by themselves or left behind by themselves. Okay, so that's really important to remember. Put the little ones in the middle. If you don't have a second big person, then you gotta be holding on to them. So if it was just me and Megan and Ben, I have to have one kid in each hand, and you need to be getting on all together. The mistake we made in Paris is Ben should have gone ahead of Megan, but Megan was the one, we talked about it in the video then, that was more comfortable pushing through the crowd and shoving people out of the way, which was our problem in that situation. Whereas Ben wouldn't feel comfortable doing that. The other thing that is important to learn about this situation, to take away from this, don't try to force those doors open. Don't try to force your way on or off the train. Stay where you are. Stay in the car or stay on the platform. You can take the next one, you can catch the next one, you can, you know, if you have a suitcase or a bag or something, that stuff is replaceable, or somebody will pick it up and get it back to you, or security will get it back to you, or whatever. But don't try to force yourself, you know, your bag got on but you didn't, or your dog, or whatever it is. I mean, obviously it's terrifying if your child, if that train had left with that little girl on it, I'm sure those parents would have been absolutely beside themselves, panic-stricken. But somebody on that train would have helped that little girl, and they would have gotten her back to her parents. And there's cameras everywhere, and there's the security guys on the train. They would not have lost her forever, I'm sure. Everybody on that platform saw what happened, okay? Everybody on the train saw what happened. If she had gotten, you know, she had gone, they would have gotten her back to her parents. But obviously that's terrifying. But it's more important that you stay put and stay in the car or stay on the platform, and don't try to force your way on or off or whatever. I mean, I totally understand the teenage daughters, the sisters' insistence that she's got to get her sister off or whatever so she's with them. But that could have been really dangerous. Somebody could have gotten seriously hurt, injured, or killed. People have died trying to do stuff like that. You don't want to be stuck in that doorway or part of you, you know, when the train goes into the tunnel. So it's really important that you follow common sense safety guidelines, and I'm going to insert here the safety and emergency stuff that I recorded on that train that I got on right after this, so you can see what it looks like. But safety is your number one, and as terrifying it is that you're going to lose somebody or something either on the platform or inside the car and be separated from it, it's more important that you don't get maimed or killed in the process. So remember that too. So that was a really important lesson that we saw. It was a very dramatic thing to witness and very upsetting. I'm sure those parents and that family is, you know, going to have long conversations about this, and that little girl was so upset. Just keep those tips in mind. And have you ever gotten separated from your child in a situation like that? I mean, I've lost all three of my kids. I made a video about that too at different times. Lost my son at Niagara Falls, lost my daughter at Disney World, lost my little guy. He sticks to me like glue now, even as old as he is. But I mean, you know, it can happen. It can happen to anyone. But there's things you can do to make that less likely and less traumatic if it does happen. So I hope this video was helpful to you. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. And I hope that you're enjoying this series of our trip to Washington, D.C. We still have 2 more days here, so lots more fun stuff coming. So make sure that you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss any of our upcoming content. Have a great day, everyone, and safe travels.